Hello and good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Invictus Racing League. We're joining late in the middle of the race due to technical difficulties, but luckily we've managed to sort that out now. We're here at Las Vegas for this Grand Prix, and now to just catch up to you now, we're currently on lap 2. Just to remind you now, Ken now into the lead with Trems and Scotty, with the two McLarens following behind for the top 5. So far, everyone has gone away cleanly into this Grand Prix. As we head into the sphere section, a quick background on the track. Its top speed is 212 miles per hour with a 3.8 mile track. And we'll have 17 corners with 2 DRS locations, especially that key point coming here now. As we see Scotty getting on the back, close to Trems. There won't be any DRS until lap 3. So he's just going to have to stay back. But we can see Trems really getting close on that Mercedes. Now is he going for the move side by side down the long straight on the back straight here? Can he get the move done? It looks like he has, and he has well before here. But can Ken pull something back? No, he can't. But he just touches the rear of that AlphaTauri now. Through these final sections of the track, still another great opportunity to make a move through here. He's going to go on the inside, very much easily done for Ken 97, and there he goes. But the other Mercedes is right on the back of it. Can he get through? No, he can't, but he's going around the inside now. AlphaTauri in a Mercedes sandwich here. This is really hurting this race, as the two McLarens are still right on the back. Louis as well, very much close with Joe Hamster right behind him now. Scotty trying to find a way past Trems. No way doing into this corner as we head into the sphere section. And the cars start to pull a gap here. No overtaking likely to happen here. Very tough on track limits through this section. Get it correctly, get it lined up, and get through cleanly. It's a short run now down to the next overtaking part here, but Scotty's just falling back on it as Trems is looking to try and make a move through this part. He's not going to go for it yet. He's going to get DRS through this corner. This is a crucial bit. It's the Las Vegas Boulevard, also known as a strip, and we got a VSC. What's happened there? I believe that's Darryl maybe, or Louis, and it is in fact Louis. That McLaren missing a front wing. Might have missed it there from the action at the front, but it helps us give a little bit of a breather as we've joined late into this Grand Prix, and we can somewhat start to get a bit of an idea on how this race has happened in the first 2 laps that we missed. But we can see Louis there limping home to the pits. The VSC will help, but the question is, when does that green flag come back out? Joseph Grimmer, clear loser in that Grand Prix, obviously having to pit very early on, having to switch to a different tyre of course. But we see now Louis locking up into the pits. It's a question of what tyre he will go for. Now could be the hard compound tyre. Tried to go long into the stint, and it is indeed the hard. We have a VSC just flashing up there, maybe an indication of it ending sometime soon. We'll have a look. But the position goes so far, Ken 97 in the lead with Trems following in behind, Scotty in 3rd with Joe Hamster in 4th, Bon Toby in P5 with Darryl with Office Red and Melanie in P8, Mr. Steen in P9 with Kurt in P10 with Keza following behind, Louis in P12 after that incident, and then Joseph Grimmer. But now yellow flags are gone and green flag underway, racing speed back again, but we've had a bit of yellow coming into this sector 1. What's happened there? Melanie gone round, potentially hitting the barrier. Not sure what's happened there. We believe something else has happened during that stage as well, but we'll go back to the leaders of this Grand Prix. Joe Hamster fell off a bit through this section now, and all eyes are on this front row. Trems quite in a difficult position here. He's got a Mercedes sandwich. They're all on the medium compound tyres, but they can throw a bit more strategy play into this Grand Prix as we see Joe Hamster and Bon Toby going wheel to wheel. Bon Toby will make that look very easy. Clear advantage of straight line speed, although on the hard tyres, but you can see him struggling through the corners there as Joe Hamster gets by through this final sector of the track. Beautiful move from him there. those medium tyres still more in its advantage compared to Bontobi's hard compound. We'll go back to the front of the field though. Nothing's changed. What about the McLaren of Joe Amster again? Still, Joe Amster remains in that 4th place despite Toby having the hard tyres. He will get the advantage though later in this stint. Now, we see a yellow flag. Is that official? Yes, it is. No, that's Mr. Steen. Mr. Steen's gone off again. Something else happened in the span of 2 laps, so hasn't gone well on this restart as we see Bontobi and Joe Amster go side by side through this sector. Who's going to come out on top? Joe Amster's still going for it. He takes the outside line and he sticks it done back into 4th place in his position. And that is good fight between these two. They are losing a bit of time to the top 3, but they don't care. They're trying to get the best position of their race for now. There's still a very long way to go. 20 laps in this Grand Prix, including this lap. So we'll see how it unfolds now. Bontobi pulling out away, but we'll see Scotty now very close to Mercedes, but it doesn't matter. Trems has got the DRS on his teammate. He makes the move, very easily done, but you know what? Ken might lose out on 2 positions here. He's the one without the DRS, and in fact he does. Ken losing out on 2 positions despite being from 1st. That DRS assistance from the other 2 drivers behind did not help him. It's cost him to 3rd place. We've got another yellow flag. Is that the AlphaTauri? Yes, it is. Is he managing to go forward? Oh, he's lost a bit of his wing. I'm not sure what's happened there. But he's now trundling back into P12. That's not gone well for him. Back at the front of the field though. Very close between it. Trent's starting to pull a little bit of a gap now. Just over 6 tenths. So we'll see what's happening at the bottom of the field with Joe Hamster, Darrell, especially Darrell and Bontobi going very close out of that corner. It hasn't worked out though for Bontobi. He's fallen another place back, but you need to remember he is on that harder compound tyre. He will get the advantage towards the end of this stint now as these medium runners start to struggle a bit as that red, another 5-second penalty going to a driver, the second one going to red this time, and then he has retired. So he's retired into the pit lane, and that's 1 driver out of the Grand Prix so far. 12 remain, but it depends how long can you go into this race. It's all about getting to the end, of course. First to finish, you have to finish that line no matter what position. Now, Joe Amster though, going to be under massive pressure here. He does not have any DRS assistance. He'll have Darrell in his wing mirrors. The DRS activated on that rear wing of the Alpine. Look at the rev lights go as Joe Hamster tries to break the toe, but there's nothing he can do. Darrell gets through Joe Hamster and into 4th position as we see Trems and Ken fight out, and Trems has lost out again. Again we see the leader drop down to 3rd despite not being the fastest car. The DRS is really powerful down that back straight. You really need a good straight line speed setup on your car tonight, otherwise you will pay heavily in that back straight on the Las Vegas Boulevard, also known as the Strip, an iconic strip of road. Glad to see it in Formula 1, especially in this race. But Trem's going to have to repass these 2 Mercedes to take back the lead, but we see Joe Amster in the background fighting with Tom Bovey. What's going to go on? Nothing through here. That DRS section coming up though, very powerful. You might want to stay back. It might be better to save that ERS and use it on that strip. As we see, ooh, the Alpine going wide. Despite the Alpine going wide, Joe Amster very wide through that section. Very tight. You've got to keep it nice and cleanly there. Slight offline can really cost you dividends in that section of the track. You can see there 8 tenths now between Darrell and Joe Amster. Still in the DRS range, of course. You need to be within 1 second. But it's not going to help with his fight with Bontobi right behind him. Now, through this part now, he's closed a little bit back on Darrell into the 610s, and now the DRS will be activated now as that rear wing opens up. Extra top speed, less drag. Will it be enough to overtake Darrell wet again? Yes, it will, and it's very easily done for Joe Amster well before the braking zone. Will Darrell lose out on another position with Bontobi? No, he won't. He's just got enough straight line speed to hold from the Alfa Romeo, but here we go. Through this longest section of the track, there is a corner coming up, but that is of course flat out to the straight as we see Bontobi overtakes Daryl through into P5. And that is going well for Bontobi, but Daryl's going to send it back on the inside line. Does he make the move stick? No, he doesn't, but Bontobi's gone very wide, and that has released the Alpine through. Bontobi, unfortunately, gone offline, and that's hurt him a bit there, as he's dropped down a few tenths behind Daryl. Daryl coming back out on top in that little battle. Of course, though, still very good stuff from Bontobi. He is on that harder tyre, and he's showing good pace throughout. Of course, the DRS is helping him stay with this battle, but if he can stay with it through this part, it'll help him long in the race. As we see Daryl go off track there, very off track, offline. That's going to cost him maybe a track limit warning there. He's got to be careful, got to keep it clean and nice through that section of the track now. But it will help Johans to have a little bit of a breather through this next section of the track. But he is going to be looking in his wing mirrors for the DRS. He won't have any, of course, not within 1 second. Trems 2.4 up ahead, so no assistance. But Bontobi's going to go for it very early on, but even before the DRS is enabled now. What's going to come out on top is Bontobi, very much clear, very early. You want to save your ERS, of course, through this section of the track. I'm not sure even if Daryl, no, Daryl did not get DRS. Daryl was out of the 1 second mark. That explains how Bontobi got ahead of that. And there's a yellow flag, and that's Ken. Ken is out. Ken, there his car is. Ken is out of the Grand Prix, and that's caused a safety car. Oh, we've missed a bow at the top. What has happened? Is that a loss on traction maybe? Is that contact? We don't know, but now it's causing a whole load of pit stops. This is around the time for the medium runners to start to come in. They can go a little bit longer now on a hard set of tyres now. But Bontobi now takes the lead. Of course, he has not stopped. So your provisional leader will be Scotty, who comes out into P2. Of course, there you see the hard compound tyre. So he is set for the end of the race despite pitting, whereas Bontobi could be going on to a potential soft run if he keeps the stint long, but the mediums are the favourable tyres, of course, and that has just changed a whole load of orders and positioning. But interesting enough, Trems on the mediums, if my memory serves correct. Trems' previous stint was also on the medium, along with Scotty and Ken, but if that's correct, then Trems is going for a two-stop. Of course, you have to use two different tyre compounds in a race as long as it's dry. So Trems could be looking at a two-stopper if, I believe it was the medium tyres in his first stint. So that's just changed the complexity of this race. So he's going to get a much better restart, of course, than his rivals ahead on a slower, harder tyre. But that has changed the complexity of this race entirely. Your new order on lap 9, safety car after Ken having troubles in the second to last corner out of turn 16. It goes from Bontobi to Scotty with Trems and Joe Hamster. Daryl finishing the top 5 with Kerr, Keza and Mr. Steen. Joseph Grimmer in P9 with Louis in P10 and Melonade in P11. And our two retirees at this stage of the Grand Prix is Ken and Official Red. So, tyre compounds goes. Everyone at this point has stopped apart from Melonade and Bontobi. Melonade, though, however, did stop very recently, so he could go to the end of this race, but that's a long stint on those medium compound tyres. But the question mark is Trems, because I believe Trems started this Grand Prix on the medium tyres. Unlike Kurt and Louis, they are using 2 or more compounds, so they could be going to the end. Trems, on the other hand, has to make another stop, so he could get a very good launch, but he's got to make this stop count. He's got to put the pace down in order to make this 2-stop strategy work in this Grand Prix tonight. They're all very, very close though. As penalties go, we have no official penalties at this point. I believe we did see some pop up. Of course, maybe 5 seconds. If it was 5 seconds, Those 5 seconds have been served, of course, if you pick up a 5-second time penalty due to infringements of potentially speeding in the pit lane. Of course, if you make a stop, that will have to be counted in your pit stop time. If not, it will be added to the end of the Grand Prix. So everyone at this point now clear of penalties, but of course the track limit warnings are going to start to build up for some of these drivers, and a 3-second time penalty can be very, very costly in a Grand Prix such as this. We could see now safety car coming to the pit lane at the end of this lap if we get Louis and Melonade back to the end of the field. But it has brought them back into contention, especially Joseph Grimmer having that late incident at the end of the first lap and costing him dearly right at the back with a good gap. It's all to play for now. We'll get another confirmation if safety car comes in to this lap. Las Vegas track, of course, brand new for 2023. Brilliant track for an event. Some drivers might disagree, but it can certainly put on a show. And is that Bon Toby in the pit lane? Yes, it is. He's currently in the pit lane. So Bon Toby coming in. Safety car, of course, going for another lap. But he's decided to make that very late call. But it's going to drop him quite a few positions here, Bon Toby. He was fighting for around P4, P5 territory. Now that's dropped him down into P9. He could lose out if Melonade comes in. So he's going to stick to P9. Where is Louis? Louis coming in as well. So Bon Toby come in for the medium tyres. Melonade as well. Brand new set of medium. And we'll have to see what Louis does. Could be most likely a medium set of tyres. Yes, it is. But crucially, front wing ready for him. Front wing changeman. So maybe a bit of damage on that car. Might as well come in and fix it. But he should be alright. He wouldn't have lost any time or places with that pit stop, so might as well get that fixed and up and running. He will have slightly fresher tyres than his rivals around him, but 2 laps won't do that much to his race unless he can manage to keep him calm and consistent through the Grand Prix and keep him in the best shape possible. The new order goes Scotty back into the lead with Trems following behind in P2, Joseph Hamster in P3 with Darrell and Kerr for P4 and P5. The 2 Ferraris of Keza and Mr. Steen fill out P6 and P7 with Joseph Grimmer in P8. Bon Toby making that very late pit stop at the end of this safety car period puts him down into P9 with Melonade finishing out the top 10, and then Louis, our last driver, in P11 with our 2 retirements, Ken 97 and Elphys Red for P12 and P13. So safety car looking to come in at the end of this lap, and there is the confirmation. Safety car in this lap. We've got a good 15 laps ahead of us of racing. As we see, the Ferrari in the background, very close. I believe there was contact between Mr. Steen and Keza, very close. Hopefully he's gotten away with that and no damage. But there we go. Now, safety car restart, all for Scotty. When does he go? Does he leave it to the last minute? Does he go early? He's got Trems behind him on the faster and fresher tyre. So, pressure all on. Scotty's not leaving it early as he goes now just through the curve. Through to start lap 12 of 25 here as we restart the Las Vegas Grand Prix. As we see Darrell making a move nearly on Joseph Hamster. He doesn't. Looking at it now, but Kerr is right on the back of him now. Kerr trying to make amends for Darrell's little attempt now, but he's still going to go at it now. Will it be enough? We don't know. As we also have another battle going up for the lead of the Grand Prix. Will these mediums help him get through Trems? Yes, it does. Trems now ahead and leading the Grand Prix through this section of the track now. Can Scotty fight with what he's got left? No, he doesn't. These medium tyres, much easier to kick on and much easier to switch on through this stage of the Grand Prix now. But it's from Trems, Scotty, Joe Hamster, Darrell, Kerr, Joseph Grimmer making up positions there on this restart, with Keza, Bontobi, Louis, Melanid and Mr. Steen. It's all gone wrong for Mr. Steen after that end of the safety car period, as we see drivers going very offline, some trying to get the best exit they possibly can. As we have a look now, DRS of course not activated, has to be activated after 3 laps of racing now, so you will not be given any advantage now. But what can Keza do? Keza nearly going alongside the Red Bull. No, he doesn't, backs early and goes behind the Red Bull once again. Now it's very tight through this section of the track. I think Keza's got a little bit of issues on connection, but hopefully it's all okay. I almost thought that Ferrari was losing its rear end there, but hopefully it's all okay. As we see the 2 cars, as the McLaren of Louis sends it down. Oh, he lost the rear, and that's pushed Joseph Grimmer offline. Oh, so Melanade and Mr. Steen having a little bit of a wiggle. That was a close call with Louis. He's managed to get out unscathed from that, but it's kept him back into P9. It's cost Joseph though into P8. Hasn't helped him at all, and that could be looked up by the stewards, but very, very late call. Very close from Louis. So, but it's all alright at this stage. All drivers are still on track. But what's the scenario? Up front into the field, Kurt, one of our closest drivers, and Darrell. 5/10 roughly separates them. Darrell nearly touching that wall there. Very, very close. But this is crucial now. Darrell really on the back of Joe Hamster now, closing that gap. He won't get that advantage of the rear wing opening, but the slipstream, especially with that long straight coming up, will that be enough? Certainly not showing to be at this point. You might just have to be patient for another lap or 2. As there you can see the margin, Trems is pulling out ahead of the Mercedes. As we see another overtake going on now. Damage going off. I believe that's from the Ferrari of Keza. Yes it is. Keza dropping out badly there, as Joseph and Louis making a move on it. They both moved up in position now. There's another very, very close battle between the 2. They've had a lap ago. Is Louis going to send it here? No, he's not. He's going to have to hold back as we see Keza retire. I believe that's a pit lane retirement. Yes, indeed it is. So it won't cause any VSC or safety car. So we're clear for more racing action ahead now. Louis just under 3/10. Has he got enough to send it through? He's gaining. It's not enough. Despite medium tyres, it's still not enough pace coming from that McLaren to get by. But he's got more chances coming up ahead. That crucial long straight, back straight with that long DRS range could help him get through here. But we look back towards up the field now. Car really close to the Alpine of Darrell. 3/10 nearly at one point. Darrell going off. Car touching the barrier. They both did. Very, very close from these 2 drivers. They're risking it all on the line here, but now Car much closer to the Alpine of Darrell. Of course, Darrell on the harder compound tyre. He makes that move very easy. Car does, and in fact, Bontobi is going to take another one as Bontobi nearly goes into the back of that Alpine. Very, very close stuff from these 2 drivers. But is he going to get the move done here? No, he's not. Has to stay back for this portion of the track now. As ahead we can still see Car making more positions, catching the back of Joe Hamster, the last position of the podium at this point. Car very, very close now. What's going to happen? Nothing through there. What about the Alpino of Darrell and Bontobi? Stay in their positions through this point. Another DRS range, of course, coming up very, very soon. So more overtaking could be seen here. Bontobi still just a bit too far back through this part to get through that Alpine of Darrell. But of course that Alpine will be getting more DRS from the other Alfa Romeo of Kurt in front. So it's a bit of a touch and go with these 2. There's damage flying off. Is that from the Alfa Romeo of Kurt? I believe that could be from Kurt. It is indeed there. The right end plate completely gone on that Alfa Romeo. So I wonder what's happened there. If he's made contact with Joe or the wall, maybe even. I don't think he touched that McLaren. So He's going to have to live with that now for the end of this race, unless he comes in and fixes that. There you can see him struggling through that corner, unable to get good entry or exit. He's going to try and use what he's got left in the tank, but it might not be enough for the Alfa Romeo driver of Kerr. And here comes Darryl with the much higher straight line speed, easily does it through here and gets a through. And now his next rival back once again to fight Joe Hamster through these fast twisty sections of the track now. As Joe Hamster gets a bit more of a gap. Is that Kerr coming in? Yes it is. Kerr's damage too substantial to keep driving with. He's coming in to get that replaced, I assume. Yeah, it's a shame. We don't know where he picked that up. We just saw the end plate fly right off that Alfa Romeo. He comes into pit, gets that fixed, and will soon be out back onto the track. New set of mediums for him though. Back at the field, the fight positioning for the podium place. In fairness, Darryl dropped back though quite a bit. 1.5 now separates the Alpine as he goes quite wide there through this section of the track. That's not going to help now. Bontobi all over the rear wing of that Alpine now. Of course, the faster soft compound tyres definitely going to help through this part of the track as he tries to really close in. But of course, Louis still very close to this fight. Don't count Louis out of this one. He is right on the back of that Alfa Romeo as well, as the Alpine goes a little bit off through that bit. And there you can see Bontobi very, very much on the back there. Should make this move done with the DRS. And there goes past. But Louis gets as well a slipstream. It's 3 wide nearly. No, it isn't. Darryl has to back out. Doesn't have the top speed. It's Louis and Bontobi going side by side here. But Louis breaks a little bit later. Gets the move done. And is into P4. As it's good recovery as Darryl's off. Darryl is off. Crucially through that section. Looks like he's lost it. And Darryl is out of the Grand Prix, and we have another safety car. As we see, Trems, crucially, has gone past the safety car, so he's just made it ahead of the safety car, so he's got another lap to catch up. But Darryl and Keza are now your newer retirements of this Grand Prix. And it's safety car number 2. And Trems into the lead, but this could somewhat change Trem's strategy. Can he now go to the end of the race on these sets of tyres? It's a challenging goal. He's still got a good 8 laps at least on this tyre compound. Of course, the safety car period will help him get to that stage, but it is pushing a little bit more than wanted on these sets of mediums, of course. Scotty, though, very much clear, but crucially now, Joe Hamster and Bontobi and Melanie have all gone for the soft compound tyre into the pits. That is going to give them a big boost on this safety car restart. But we did see a penalty come our way. Believe that is Bontobi, yes, with a 5-second time penalty, so likely caught. I believe it was caught during the pit lane, speeding in the pit lane. So he will heavily take that into his race. Don't believe, unless he's coming in again for another pit stop, which I don't believe he has, he will have to serve that extra 5 seconds at the end of the race on his added time. So your new order on lap 17 goes Trems to Scotty to Louis with Joe Amston P4, P5 going to Bontobi with Mr. Steen P6, Kerr with Melanade, and followed by the final Joseph Grimmer. We've lost 4 drivers in this Grand Prix tonight. Darryl, of course, causing this one currently here with Keza, Ken97, and Office Red makes out the retiree list. As we see more pit stops coming our way, Scotty crucially coming in along with Trems as well. And that has in fact changed the complexity of this race. Joe Amster's picked up a free position here. Joe Amster was P3 before the safety car lights came out and has picked up a position on Scotty. So coming in a lap earlier has helped him gain 1 place. Louis remains in his position, with Mr. Steen going up to P5, of course, not pitting until 6 laps ago. So he is the only medium runner, in fact, who has stayed out. He is going to be under a lot of pressure, surrounded by the soft compounds all around him, so he will have a tough job to do. But we'll see nonetheless. Melanade then right behind with the soft tyres, slightly older than the others around him, in par with Joe Hamster, with Bontobi behind Kurt and Joseph Grimmer. This has gone quite decently for the McLaren duo. They've come back a bit through this Grand Prix. They lost out at the start with Louis having that incident. Joseph Hamster has always been around in that top 3, top 4 positioning through this Grand Prix, so he's kept it quite consistent, and he's now sitting in P2. So very, very good stuff from him. And Louis back up to P4, so watch out for these 2 McLaren duos. Of course, Scotty in the middle of this little duo, but now Trems, of course, on par with his drivers around him, so not having to stress about strategies. It would have been very interesting to see if he had made that 2-stopper worked. As the drivers come round to complete another lap. ERS completely gets reset. They'll recharge that battery up, and I'll have another go at it. It is now a sprint race to the checkered flag, with around 5 to 6 laps to go of this Grand Prix when the green lights come out. And boy oh boy, this could be a photo finish. We've got 9 drivers left, but I'm sure it can produce some brilliant racing ahead of us tonight. But let me know your opinions on this track. Las Vegas, of course, brand new for this game, brand new for Formula 1 and the drivers, so it must be a new experience for everyone, having to learn how the tyres respond under the lights here in the America. But it seems to prove some decent action, of course, with these long straights and fast corners, especially that sphere through this part. I have heard a few drivers talk about that sphere being a potential distraction even, but I know it's not coded in this game as it is in real life, so it should make things a lot easier for them tonight. So, all drivers clear of penalties at this stage. I'm wondering if Bontobi, I believe it was Bontobi who picked up a penalty, 5-second time penalty. He's not showing on our screen to have a penalty, so he's must have served that. So he must have come in again and served that. So that will help clear it off his name, release some stress, and can go like hell to the end of the Grand Prix. All the drivers now at the back of the field, only 9, but it still can produce hopefully a spectacle. And there is the message confirmation, safety car in this lap from race control. And now it's up to Trems's job to slow the pack down and prepare for a restart. Joseph Hamster on the back of that AlphaTauri, really shoving him along. Question is, when does Trem go? Does he wait to the end? Does he go early? Starting to really slow things down. And here we go towards the start finish line. Will he go the same place as we saw Scotty go? Could be. It's gone a little bit later though. He's still not gone, and there it goes. Trems. The race restarted, lap 20 of 25, and we can see a whole shuffling in the midfield of the pack now. We see Ferrari trying to make a move on the McLaren. Nothing done there, but we see Bontobi and Mr. Steen fighting it out through here. Trems getting a very good restart, nearly 7 turns clear of Joe Hamster, and gets a well. Who else has made positions through this stage of the race? As we see, oh, the Alfa Romeo and the Haas nearly taking each other out, just touching the wheels. Very, very close now. The Bontobi is through and okay, along with Melonade. Melonade, in fact, coming very silently back up to the field. He was down into P10, P11 towards the start of this race. He's really done well to crawl his way up to P5. So he's definitely one to watch in this end stage of the Grand Prix. What can happen here? The gaps starting to spread out a bit. Closest rivals on track currently Louis and Scotty, especially Scotty to Joe Amster even. No DRS of course activated for these next 2 laps, and Joe Hamster saved by that feature. He gets away well. Oh, Scotty gets the rear wrong and Louis gets it by now. Scotty made an error. Louis saw the door open and he said, thank you very much, I'll take that podium off you. Now it's Trems from Joe Amster, Louis to Scotty, Melonade in P5 with Bontobi P6, Mr. Steen in P7 with Kyle in P8, and following by Joseph Grimmer in P9. Now currently a double McLaren podium, P2 and P3 looking very well for Team McLaren here. But Louis closing in on his teammate of Joe Hamster. Wonder if there'll be any team orders going on here, but Louis really seems to have the pace here. So could we see a little switch to try and catch up to that AlphaTauri of Trems as he's starting to pull away bit by bit through this part of the track? We see the deployment of the ERS by Louis trying to catch up to his teammate. I'm sure they're not going to fight this one too hard if they are going to. They don't want to lose time to Trems through this stage. 4 laps to go. It's Trems from Joe Amster with Louis for the podium positions. Louis really has the advantage on the straight line speed. He's got the slipstream. He's got the ERS advantage. He makes his play by his teammate to take P2. Joe Amster not really trying to let this go, but he's having to. Not close enough to make a move back again. But now Louis through in the head. Can Louis? Oh, Joe Hamster losing a bit on the rear, but he saved it. That was very close call, but Scotty now right on the back of that McLaren. DRS enabled. Crucially, Louis setting the fastest lap at this point of 35.3 for Louis. So, all question mark, can Louis get to the back of that AlphaTauri as we see Joe nearly losing the rear? He saved it through that section. Joe is struggling on the rears of these tyres. He nearly had a moment coming out the end of the last lap. He's had a moment just through there, but it's still not enough for Scotty to get by. Scotty having to stay back, but crucially DRS is enabled, so that's putting him right on the rear of it as Joe Amster goes off again. Joe is struggling to make his way through this track. He is not having the confidence in that car to keep it on track at the moment. It must be playing with his mind at this point. It's never a good feeling to have all these little errors creep in, especially at this stage of the race where it's so close to the finish. But Trems pulling away 2.2 seconds now to Louis. Here comes Scotty to take back his podium position, and he'll easily do that. Joe Hamster is defenseless without that DRS. Nothing he can do through here. He'll have to sit and wait to be back into P4, but DRS of course returns to Joe Amster now, unless Scotty can get within that 1 second of Joe's teammate, which is Louis currently in P2. And Trems now in fact responds to Louis' fastest lap of 34.6, so clearly setting a benchmark and the pace from Trems now. Oh, as we see a panel of a front wing, it looks like the McLaren. Was it the McLaren? In fact, that could be Louis. Is that Louis? Yes, it is. The left front end plate completely gone on the McLaren. It was looking comfortable for Louis, starting to pull a bit of a gap on Scotty, but that's now changed it completely. Now, Scotty right over the back of the McLaren, and Scotty goes for it down the inside. Can he keep it in? Yes, he can. Scotty takes back P2. Brilliant move from Scotty to take this back fight. Louis now, of course, going to be struggling with the less downforce on the front end, and that could be really crucial. Can he get through? No, he can't. But all this little battle is helping the Alfa Romeo Bontobi, now crawling on the back within DRS range, crucially. So, what a finish this could be. As we see now a move for the top. Louis comes back round from Scotty. No surprise there. Scotty having to fight without DRS. Could Joe Amster even get a little bit of a sense of a place back? No, he can't. Just a little bit too far back. But Louis has now got immense pressure as Louis nearly lost the rear, and so has Scotty. Very, very close between these drivers. It's all going down to the wire as Trems starts lap 24 of 25 on the provisional lap of the race. And it's all so close between these drivers. Who's going to finish on the podium? Who's going to finish on this podium? We have no idea. Toby's still in the mix of this Grand Prix. 4 drivers to settle these 2 positions here. Who's going to get what? Scotty having the DRS, not enough to fight on Louis, but he is still very much close enough through these sections of corners. Of course, Louis having that reduction in downforce on the front end. She's going to be struggling to turn that McLaren around through this part. That Mercedes going to be all over that rear wing. Now, as he gets through this section of the track, all Louis needs to do is to try and hold him up as much as he can. Try and get Joe into this fight and help him out. As we come round now into the Las Vegas Boulevard, the strip also known as. Through here we go. DRS will be activated very, very soon. And Scotty now gets that advantage down. Now Scotty opens the rear wing. Extra straight line speed. Less drag. Is it going to be enough? It should be. But Scotty's really making this as tough as he can be. But you know what? He'll get it done one way or another. And there, Scotty goes back into P2, following with Louis and Joe Amster. This little fight has really helped Trems out now as he begins to start the final lap of the Grand Prix. Now, from Scotty, Louis, Joe Hamster with Bontobi, Melonade in P6 with Mr. Steen P7, Kurt and Joseph Grimmer finish out the order. Scotty now under immense pressure without DRS for this final lap of the Grand Prix. He's got the 2 McLarens in his wing mirrors. Can he hold on to this second place as well? Bontobi trying to look around, see if he can have any chance of getting through one of these McLarens. But Scotty remains into P2 now. We have to wait through this section of the track now. Of course, no DRS on this upcoming little section of corners. Of course, it is corners, but they are still flat out. So, no DRS 3 here, but he has pulled a bit of a gap now. 9/10 nearly. Is he going to pull out of the DRS range to Louis? Very, very close. It's 1 second now. At the detection point, it's 1.2. So Louis now defenseless from his teammate even. So Louis built as well a bit of a gap on his teammate, but it might not be enough now. But crucially, for the final positioning of the podium, Louis catching up to Scotty. Joe Hamster fighting with Bontobi. Is there going to be any changes around? No, there's not. So far, it remains how it has been. Scotty and this trio have been catching up though to Trems. There's been a night to remember for the AlphaTauri team as Trems takes victory in Las Vegas, victorious around the streets as Scotty comes home to stay in second place, defending from Louis. Louis P3 with Joe Hamster in P4. Bontobi finishes in P5 with Melonade in P6. Mr. Steen comes home for P7 with Kerr in P8. Finally, Joseph Grimmer in P9. What an end to the Grand Prix that was. Very, very tight between the top 4 there. And all to play for, but I think we can all agree that was a very, very, very good end to the the Las Vegas Grand Prix, as Melanie is your driver of the day here in Las Vegas. And we now see the podium celebrations. As Trems lifts that trophy up. The AlphaTauri team sharing a moment of victory as we spray the champagne through here. Good night for AlphaTauri boys. Very night for the McLaren as well. Strong positioning again. But Scotty, of course, coming in between that double podium, fighting it off to the very end here. So, your final results, your unofficial final results. Trems takes win in America here at the Las Vegas Strip. From Scotty in the Mercedes, with the two McLaren boys filling out P3 and P4, with Louis obviously filling out that final podium positioning. Bontovi takes the final top 5 position with Melanie in P6, our driver of the day, of course. Mr. Steen finishes in P7 with Kerr in P8. And finally, the last of the running orders with Joseph Grimmer in the Red Bull takes P9. Your 4 retirees of the Grand Prix, the Alpine of Darrell obviously having that late safety car, with then Keza having that shame of the retiring in the pit lane. We then have Ken, unfortunately, one of the strong points of this Grand Prix, one of the strong drivers to take the challenge to Trems, unfortunately having that error. Potentially an error, we didn't catch it, but having that slight problem at the end of the lap. And finally, Office Red and the AlphaTauri in P13. So mixed emotions there from Team AlphaTauri, but I'm sure that win is still going to help them out, crucially, in the standings. So, what a night around Las Vegas. There's very, very good racing coming our way. Of course, coming up, we've got Tier 2 and Tier 1 coming up tomorrow and on Wednesday night. Of course, don't forget RP coming up as well around the streets of Las Vegas. Definitely one to watch, of course. We'll see, though, if we can get any of the drivers, though, for any post-race comments or interviews. Can try and check it out now, see if any of our podium finishers want to say a word. I'm not sure if we can get anyone in to the com box. Have a look if we can, but it might not happen. So we might not be able to get anyone in. We've tried to invite our podium finishers, of course, so Scotty might not be able to, considering on the PC. But we might in fact have Louis in the party. So hopefully we can have a word with him. We'll try and get a hold of Trems, but might not be able to either. So We all have to check it out. But anyway, for the meantime, we have Louis here in the commentary box with us tonight. Very strong result from the McLaren driver. Louis, how are you?
I'm not sure, to be honest. It was a bit of a sketchy race in my opinion, just to what I'm usually used to. Like usually I'm used to just avoiding situations and just trying to like get a clean race, and I just had quite a few incidents with myself, to be honest. Just a bit of, lapse of concentration, getting damaged front wings, and then speeding under virtual safety car, getting drive through. So to be honest, just to come away with a P3 is, saving grace. But all in all, didn't really enjoy the race, but not one of my favourites. But yeah, like I say, just glad to still come away with some decent points.
Yeah, of course, it's, might not be your night, but to come away from a podium result, P3, like you said, it's still very, very strong. Of course, in the championship, you've got a long run to go, so every point does count. But like you said, having these little errors, it seemed, of course, a little bit tough to get around through these such long straights and then tight corners through then after. Was that a bit of an error from you? Did you just generally not have the clean race you were hoping for, or was it just not your day today?
I think it's just a bit of both. I think it was one of them where it's a new track for everyone, so it was quite a complicated situation for a lot of us. But I felt like some people just dealt with it better than I did. I think started off okay, qualified P4, not too bad, and then just made a mistake on the brakes early into the race and just lost the rear of the car, lost my front wing, and it just kind of fell apart from there. And I was just trying to like salvage some points, like you say. Just any points would have just been nice at that point. So I think later on I'll probably be a bit happier with the result, but I think I'm just coming down with a bit of disappointment in my own race etiquette, not necessarily like how it went, just the fact as in probably could have done better, and I think it's just not my favorite track. And you know all in all, just I mean, I got up there at the end, and then clipped the wall right at the end again, and I was just thinking at that point I'll be happy just to get to the end of the race, which I think quite a lot of us had the same sort of thoughts.
Yeah, no, completely agree with that. We did see you later towards the last 5 laps, I believe. We saw an end plate come off. Is that, we believe it was from your car. So did that put you under pressure? Do you think maybe that damage maybe cost you P2 in that end of the race, or do you think still the Mercedes of Scotty was still a little bit faster to get through?
Yeah, I mean, I did lose an end plate, and I had yellow front wing on either side, which obviously, affected the car. Not a lot. It was just enough though to make that annoying difference. But to be honest, I think if I'm going to be, like I say, going to be honest, I think Scotty made quite a lovely move in the middle of the lap. And I thought, to be honest, if I can just stay within the second, that long back straight, I might be able to just, sneak away P2 even with the slightly damaged wing. But I think his less damage, and I just think he was just raced really well tonight. So he pulled that 1 second gap just at the right time, just to get away and get the P2. So congrats to him and to Trems for a solid race. And I think just to come away with a P3 and Joe, my teammate, with a P4 is a good race for our team, and just a good result for myself given how the rest of the race went.
Of course, of course. P3 and P4 still very, very strong result for the team in the constructors, of course. But next week you move on to Singapore. How do you feel about that? Do you think that's a strong point, or a track that you think you can bounce back for?
Actually, I really enjoy driving Singapore, but I don't want to jinx myself too early. So we'll see, because I've not had the best of luck with street circuits this season. But I'll just see how it goes. But it's one of the tracks where I quite enjoy. So I think that's one thing to look forward to more than tonight's race, where I kind of knew I was not necessarily on the back foot, because like I say, everyone was in the same boat, but I just knew it was going to be quite a tough race. Whereas, like you say, Singapore, with it being a track that's been on the calendar for a while, and I quite enjoy it. So hopefully that'll help in securing either just as good of a finish or better next week.
Yeah, of course. And final question. Of course, moving to Singapore, it is somewhat a bit of a new track. that new revision in that final section of the layouts, how as a driver and other drivers will adapt to this? Does this mean a change in setup? Of course, we've known from history very much a high downforce track, but now an extra longer straight. Does that mean more overtakes, and does that mean a little bit more cautious now to having a bit more straight line speed as a driver?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to add a lot of interesting changes to people's setups. I don't know whether people will change it much, or because obviously if with a lot of the rest of the track being quite tight and twisty, whether people will just keep that high downforce and just pray that they make up enough time through the rest of the lap that they might not be as compromised on the straight, or whether, like this track for example, it's got obviously one or two really long straights but the rest of it being tight, so it's a difficult one. I think it's going to be one of them where it's going to be quite a lot of practice, and I think just kind of see which setups suit what and just do a bit of research. And I think, to be fair, I'm still quite not confident but a bit more confident going into this one than this track, because it is still different but it's not completely new, whereas I feel like in a way having this track just before it might help adapt a bit quicker to the change in Singapore for next week.
Of course, characteristics from this Las Vegas Grand Prix obviously going to be flowing into a track like Singapore. Tight, twisty sections, bit of straights, bit of sharp corners. So definitely something you can take into account for next week. But thank you very much, Louis, for having a chat with us in the commentary box. That will be all for tonight. Of course, check out tomorrow for Tier 2 and Tier 1 the following day, with RP finishing off the week. Very, very good stuff coming up your way. And of course, like we said, Singapore next week. So make sure to stick around with us throughout the rest of the week. Thank you all very, very much. My name is Alex, and glad to be your commentator for tonight. Thank you very much, and good evening.